There's something brutally honest about life. It doesn't care how you feel, but it will respond to what you do. And if you've ever stayed awake at night, silently battling failure, if you've ever pushed forward while everything in you wanted to quit, then you've stood on the edge of transformation. This moment right here, is what paid off looks like, not the applause, not the highlight reel, but the resilience, the refinement, the man or woman you've become by not giving up when it would have been easier to. You don't stumble into success, you build it, brick by bloody brick, and the mortar holding those bricks together is discipline. You wake up early not because it feels good, but because it builds you. You say no to distractions, to comfort, to short-term pleasure, because you're chasing something higher. Every day you honor your commitments, especially the ones you made to yourself. That's not motivation. That's discipline, and it's how empires are built in silence before anyone ever sees the glory. When you finally arrive at that peak, people will call you lucky, but you'll know what it cost. People mistake payoff for possessions, a car, a house, a title. No, the real reward is internal. It's the character forged through struggle. It's the quiet confidence that says, I can handle this, because you've already been through hell and didn't break. You became someone stronger than the problem. That's the true payoff: maturity, strength, wisdom, the ability to walk into chaos and remain composed. That doesn't show up on social media, but it shows up in your relationships, your leadership, and your clarity. You don't just get the reward, you become the kind of person who can sustain it. You can't skip the suffering, that's the myth. People want transformation without the fire, but gold is only purified in flame. If you didn't struggle, if you didn't lose sleep, question yourself, fall flat on your face again and again, then the payoff wouldn't be real, because you wouldn't be prepared to hold it. The adversity was not an interruption to the plan. It was the plan. Every hardship, every betrayal, every lonely moment, it was forming you into someone capable of doing something remarkable. So when it finally pays off, you don't thank the victory, you thank the pain. The final and most powerful payoff, legacy, when your actions begin to echo beyond your own life, when they inspire your children, your community, your culture, that's when you realize this was never just about you. The discipline, the suffering, the relentless work, it becomes a path others can follow. That's how you change the world, one person deeply committed to transformation, who dares to take responsibility for their life, who dares to lead. In the end, your success is not measured by what you gathered, but by what you gave. The truest payoff is impact. This is what paid off looks like: a life built on truth, carved by effort, strengthened by fire, and sustained by purpose. It's not glamorous at first, it's gritty, it's not fast, it's forged over time, but it's real, and when you finally stand in that moment, knowing you endured what others fled from, knowing you held the line when it would have been easier to fall, you won't need anyone's approval. Because you'll know, deep in your soul you'll know, this is what paid off looks like. Discipline is the foundation upon which every lasting success is built. It's not something you're born with, nor is it some mystical energy that magically appears when you're inspired. Discipline is a decision. It's the decision to take action when comfort whispers in your ear. It's the decision to show up when no one is watching, no one is clapping, and no one is holding you accountable. Most people wait for motivation to strike like lightning, but those who have truly experienced a payoff in life, real, soul, deep transformation, understand that discipline is the engine that moves you when motivation runs dry. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have built something extraordinary, whether it's a business, a career, a family, or even just themselves. They didn't get there by doing what was easy. They got there by choosing what was necessary. That's discipline. It's waking up when your body aches, choosing work over distraction, choosing growth over comfort, choosing progress over perfection. It's knowing exactly what needs to be done, and doing it anyway. Every day, especially on the days you don't feel like it, discipline trains your mind to obey a greater mission. It teaches you to suffer strategically, Not all suffering is equal. Discipline is controlled suffering. You decide to say no to the extra sleep, the junk food, the instant gratification. Why? Because you've seen the bigger picture, because you're chasing a goal worth bleeding for, because you know that shortcuts are just detours that eventually cost more. Discipline takes everything the world throws at you, chaos, temptation, weakness, and converts it into structure, into action, into results. And here's the thing most people overlook: discipline isn't a punishment, it's freedom. The freedom to rise above mediocrity, the freedom to look at your reflection without shame, the freedom to pursue your purpose without being enslaved by laziness or fear. Every disciplined moment is an investment. You may not see the return right away, it might feel invisible, but one day, without even realizing it, you'll wake up and see that your habits have become your nature. Your small efforts have become massive victories. You'll stand in the life you once only dreamed of and know with certainty it didn't come from luck. It came from the disciplined choices you made when no one was clapping, and that is what paid off. The real payoff in life is not what you acquire, but who you become through the process. Society often measures success by external trophies, money, titles, possessions, applause, but those are only byproducts, not the core. The deeper truth is this: real success reshapes your character, it sharpens you, it strengthens your ability to navigate complexity, handle setbacks, and rise above self-doubt. As you walk through struggle day after day, something begins to shift, not around you, but within you. You begin to develop traits that cannot be bought, copied, or gifted. You become resilient, focused, humble, and wise. These are not skills, they are qualities earned only through experience. When you endure the hard seasons, you don't just achieve goals. You gain clarity. You start seeing what really matters and what never did. You stop chasing shallow validation and start seeking real meaning. You stop comparing your journey to others because you finally understand the cost of your own. The process strips away your illusions and forces you to face your limitations, but in doing so, it gives you something much greater: depth, integrity, power rooted in truth, not perception. People will see your results one day and assume that's the payoff. The job, the house, the recognition. But what they won't see is the version of you that emerged through the fire. The version that knows how to stay calm in chaos, how to lead with compassion, how to persevere in the dark. You'll find yourself in situations that would have broken the old you, and yet now you stand unshaken. That's the moment you realize you've changed. That's the real reward. You've become someone worthy of the life you're building. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it is always necessary. And as you stretch, fail, recover, and continue, your identity evolves. You no longer see yourself as a victim of your circumstances. You become the architect of your life. The trials didn't just test you, they formed you, and eventually you won't even recognize the person you used to be, not because you're pretending to be someone else, but because you've fought for every piece of who you are now. That quiet strength, that inner authority, that solid sense of self, that's what truly paid off. Everything else is just the surface. Pain has a way of feeling like punishment, but in reality, it is preparation. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs. They run from discomfort, dodge challenges, and seek the safest route. But anyone who has ever achieved something meaningful knows that pain isn't an obstacle. It's a necessary ingredient in the process of becoming. Every worthwhile transformation is born from a moment or a season of suffering. The discomfort you felt, the failure you endured, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the long nights questioning if it's worth it. That was not wasted. It was building something in you that comfort never could. The truth is, you can't become strong without resistance. Just like muscles tear before they grow, your spirit is stretched in moments of deep struggle. Every breakdown is an invitation to break through, but you only get there if you stay in it long enough to learn. Pain forces clarity. It strips away pretense. It exposes what's real and what's not. When everything feels like it's falling apart, you're left with the raw, unfiltered version of yourself. That's when you meet the real you, not the curated image you show the world, but the one who emerges in crisis. That moment is sacred because what you do there, how you respond, how you fight back, how you rise, that determines what kind of payoff you'll experience. You can't become unshakable if you've never been shaken. You can't develop perseverance if you've never been pressed. The pain is not a detour from your path, it is the path. It's not the punishment for dreaming big, it's the toll you pay to grow big enough to hold the dream. And when you finally reach that point where things begin to click, when the rewards start to appear, it will all make sense. You'll realize that the suffering had a purpose, that the nights of silence built your patience, that the seasons of scarcity taught you gratitude, that the years of rejection taught you resilience. In hindsight, you won't curse the pain, you'll respect it. You'll see that it wasn't there to destroy you, but to refine you. Every ounce of discomfort was sharpening your edge, preparing you to carry what you asked for. Because if you received the payoff without the pain, you wouldn't know how to hold it. You wouldn't be ready. But because you endured, because you stayed, because you grew through what tried to break you, now you're ready. That's the kind of pain that doesn't just hurt, it transforms, and that is what truly paid off. Legacy is one of those words that people often associate with fame or fortune, but its true meaning is far more personal, far more impactful. Your legacy is not what you leave behind in terms of material things, but what you pass on in terms of values, strength, and influence. The truth is, everything you're doing now, every sacrifice, every disciplined decision, every battle fought in silence, is creating a ripple effect that will outlive you. That's the ultimate payoff. Not just achieving your own goals, but becoming the reason someone else believes they can achieve theirs. As you grow, evolve, and overcome, you unknowingly become a blueprint for others. People watch how you handle pressure, how you respond to failure, how you stand tall after being knocked down. Whether you realize it or not, someone is being shaped by your example. Maybe it's your children, maybe it's your younger sibling, maybe it's someone you don't even know, someone quietly observing and drawing strength from your perseverance. When you carry yourself with integrity, with grit, with a relentless commitment to do what's right even when it's hard, that energy doesn't vanish, it multiplies. Legacy isn't loud. It doesn't always come with applause or awards. Sometimes it's in the quiet conversations you have when someone's at their lowest. Sometimes it's in your work ethic that silently challenges others to raise their standards. Sometimes it's simply in the way you refuse to quit when giving up would have been so much easier. That consistency, that fire, that unshakable commitment to your purpose, that's what people remember. Not just what you built, but how you built it. Not just what you achieved, but who you became in the process. The payoff isn't just the life you create, it's the path you open for others. It's the courage you ignite, the doors you hold open, the wisdom you share from your own battles. Your legacy becomes a guiding light for others walking through the same darkness you once faced. And that's the kind of impact that can't be measured in numbers or likes or wealth. It's measured in lives changed. That's where true fulfillment comes from, knowing your fight wasn't just for you, it was for everyone who would come after. In the end, that is the highest form of payoff, living in a way that your presence becomes a reason someone else keeps going. When you look back on the journey that brought you to your breakthrough, it's impossible to ignore the invisible forces that held everything together: discipline, transformation, pain, and legacy. These weren't just chapters in your story, they were the very structure of it. You didn't stumble into success or fall into greatness. You showed up every single day, not because it was easy, but because something inside you refused to let go. That voice within you, quiet but firm, kept whispering, "Keep going," and eventually your persistence paid off. You built something out of nothing. You carved light out of the dark. That alone is a victory beyond words. You came to realize that the world doesn't hand out rewards for potential. It pays out in full to those who are consistent, who are honest, and who are relentless. The transformation wasn't just about reaching a goal. It was about becoming the kind of person who can handle that goal, who can carry the weight of responsibility, influence, and impact without crumbling. It wasn't the applause that validated you, it was the growth, the deep internal shift that took place as you kept choosing purpose over pleasure, effort over excuse, action over apathy, and in that space of quiet strength, you found the real reward, mastery over yourself. You now understand that pain was never the enemy, it was your teacher. It broke you open, revealed your weaknesses, and then helped rebuild you into someone unshakable. The pain didn't block your path, it became the path. And in enduring it, you earned more than just results, you earned resilience. You proved to yourself that storms don't last forever, and more importantly, that you don't break, you adapt, you rise, you grow. That pain gave you the emotional and spiritual strength to hold your success with grace and with gratitude. And finally, you realize it was never just about you. Everything you've built, everything you've become will outlive you if you live with intention. Your story becomes someone else's survival guide. Your strength becomes someone else's hope. The life you lead now becomes the permission someone else needs to pursue their own transformation. That's what paid off really looks like. It's not just in what you gain, but in what you give. Not just in what you accomplish, but in what you inspire. And that kind of legacy, that's the kind that never fades. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If these words spoke to your journey, your struggle, or your vision, then know this: your presence here matters. Every moment you spend learning, growing, and reflecting is a step toward the life you're meant to build. Keep showing up for yourself, even when no one else sees it, because one day it will pay off. If this message added value to your day, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and never stop becoming the person you were meant to be. Thank you, and goodbye.